Well, this is John White, Breaking Mad, talking about how to make a gas mask. And this isn't really a gas mask per se because a gas mask filters out, uh, bad gases or particles. This really doesn't do that. Um, but for a home chemist, it would be good, maybe. I want you to look at this. This is a snorkel, okay? Everyone knows, I hope, what a snorkel is. It's just a tube with an elbow on it so you can put it in your mouth and lay in water, face down. And you can see if this was the water line right here, right? He was laying in water. This would be poking outside the water, right? Because here's the water line. And he can breathe, right? And I just have it in a face mask form. And you can see his head, where his mouth, nose, and eyes would be. Um, and this would be up, you know what I mean? So anyways, if you notice, there's actually two tubes here. One tube comes in, and it goes into this area here where his eyes are at, right? And then I'm not sure about this, but my belief is there's some type of check valve or something with tiny holes. You know what I mean? It has to diffuse into the next area, right? um, so he inhales, right? And there's a check valve here, even though I have it open. There's another check valve there that's closed, right? When he inhales, this check valve from the intake air opens up. And the air comes in and he inhales it, right? When he's all full inhaling and he's not inhaling anymore, this check valve will close. When he exhales, it forces this one open to the outlet, and the air comes up here. Then when he inhales again, this closes, right? And this one where his eyes are at opens up, and more air can come in, and he can breathe it. Now, and there's also where this arrow is, there's a pressure valve that if you go so deep into the water, and the more pressure you get, I guess because it pushes on the face mask, and you don't, become so uncomfortable, so they put a pressure relief valve in there. You get so low down, the pressure builds up, the water can come inside and equalize the pressure difference so it's not smashing your face. So if they were pressure relief valves, you could just basically, my idea would be, and these would be the straps, the straps goes around your thing, and you have an airtight seal on these scuba, they're not gas masks, they're scuba gear masks. And not for scuba gearing where you got a tank on your back. Scuba gearing where you are snorkeling. They're snorkeling full face mask, okay? Like I was saying, if these are pressure valves where they can only go, they're check valves where they can only let gas pass one way, you know what I mean? Then you could just put hoses onto these. These are going to be two holes up here, right? You might have to cut some, might not be holes where you can see them. But if you cut it, I'm sure there's holes where you can shove hoses into these. Shove a hose into the inlet and the outlet. JB weld it all up so that it's airtight. That way the air, if these are check valves, I don't know if they are check valves. And then just have these hoses going outside, okay? You can see if you're standing up, the hoses would be pointing back, you know what I mean? And then they'd probably hang over your back, a little bit. So you couldn't be moving around all over the place. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't want to be moving around all over the place while you're doing your experiment. But the way I'm going to do it, because I'm unsure about that way, because I'm not sure if they're check valves or if they're if they're just little holes or what. So my idea, because you don't want to breathe in, you don't want your carbon dioxide to be breathing it in. So if it's not set up that way, you will end up just suffocating yourself, giving yourself carbon dioxide poisoning. So what I'm going to do with mine, because I'm unsure, is I'm going to block up here. The outlet, right, I'm going to block. Now I put the hose into the inlet, JB weld it, and now I can breathe in, right? And what I'm going to do is the hole in front of the mouth here, that's the pressure relief valve. If you go down too low into the water, you know, it'll let water in so that you can relieve the pressure on the mask, you know, pressing on your face. I'm going to cut a hole into that. I'm going to insert a hose like this arrow is into the mouth, right? So there's at least enough hose to reach inside, you know, an inch into my mouth or a half inch into my mouth, right? Then I'm going to JB weld that all up so it's all nice and, you know, airtight or whatever. Now imagine I have the mask on my face. It's airtight around here. You know what I mean? The hose that goes in is, you know, going out to a window. And I can breathe in. And when I breathe in, the air comes in. When I breathe out, the hose is in my mouth. I have to keep that sealed the entire time. And I just blow out that hose. You breathe in your nose and out your mouth. Otherwise, this method is not good. You know what I'm saying? This way, since you're breathing out, when you breathe in, you'll always be sucking in nice clean air wherever you put the end of this hose going to outside or to another room or to whatever. Now, obviously, if you're in an apartment building, this method wouldn't work. You know, whatever fumes you have are just going to go permeate throughout the apartment building, you know, the other apartments. But if you have a house, and it's especially if it's raining hard and it's winter time, everyone has their windows closed, it's raining, you know, I always remember rain is the biggest gas scrubber there is. Meaning if you're in a house, not an apartment building, but a house, and it's raining outside, it's winter, so everyone has their windows closed, and it's nighttime, they're all sleeping, and it's windy and raining. Rain, no one's going to smell anything. I mean, maybe styrene. That's some nasty stuff. But most chemicals to rain, especially if it's raining hard, will just beat those gases down before they get, you know, a couple feet past your house or a foot past your house, and will be dissolved in all the water. You'd be sitting in your house, say, right, here's your basement, here's your whatever, here's your two hoses going outside. Now, wherever the wind is going, if the wind is going this way, see how I have the arrows pointed, that's the side you want your hoses on. It's going to be where, you know, if the fumes go outside, they're going to be pushed that way, you know what I mean? And maybe even have a window open with a fan blowing that way, right? Now you have your chemicals going, they're going out the fan, or if you have a fume hood and you're just working with something that you're terrified, you know, it might be hydrogen cyanide or something like that, and you're like, oh, I got a fume hood, but I don't want to trust that I won't, you know, because you only need a few molecules to kill yourself. I don't want to risk it, you know what I mean? So you have your fume hood on, and you have these hoses going to the other side of the building, you know what I mean? Outside the, you know, you open the window just a crack just to get the hoses out there, and then close it up all the way down. You know, the hoses ain't going to be that thick. And then put some towels in the crack of the window or whatever, so you're getting nice fresh air, you know what I mean? If you have a couple story building, that'd be even greater. You can go to the higher, you know, floors and drape the hoses all the way down to the ground, you know what I mean? You'll really be out of the, you know, because the higher you go up, the windier it is. So, you know, no fumes would get down here. If this was this was the first story instead of a basement, and you had the hoses down to here. So that's pretty much it. You know, it's sealed because it's a scuba, it's a snorkeling, but it's for scuba snorkeling, diving, or whatever. So you know you have a seal going around your head, you know, your chin and your face and that, right? And you know you're getting fresh air because this inlet is coming all the way from a hose that's 20, 30 feet, on the other side of the building, outside. And you're not being carbon dioxide poisoned because you have your outlet is a hose going directly into your mouth, and you only breathe through that out through that hose. You know what I mean? So sure, the carbon dioxide is going to build up in that tube, but you never breathe in that tube. You breathe in your nose. So that way, who cares if there's carbon dioxide in that? When you breathe out again, you'll force that carbon dioxide out, into the atmosphere. And of course, put more into the tube right by your mouth. But like I said, you breathe in your nose. You get nice fresh air, and you breathe out the other nose. And since both hoses are going to the same place outside, even if you did accidentally breathe in through the hose once in a while, sure, you're going to get carbon dioxide a lot, but it wouldn't be the poisons or the chemical fumes that you're making, doing your experiment. But anyways, the face mask is probably $20. Hoses, even if you took a 20 feet, for your inlet and 20 feet for your outlet, you can probably get a hose for $1 a foot. I mean, that's $40 for the hose, 20 for the mask, and maybe a couple bucks for JB Weld, and $65. You got a night, and you don't have to worry about this, because different filters filter different stuff. You know what I mean? So you might need different types of filters. You have to know which ones you can get and use. You have to know that they, once you use them, that's it. They're done. You got to buy another one. Here, you never have to buy a filter. You never have to worry about what kind of filter. It's always fresh air. And you never have to worry about if it's used up or has it expired. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. It's just a little short, little whatever. I did do another video where I show you how to take the YouTube off of or disconnect it from your sink, and then shove a hose down the YouTube, with the YouTube having water in it, right? Shove it past that water, and then blow through the hose so it's all air. And you can connect that up to any apparatus, and all the gases just go into the sewage. And they can't come back out because the YouTube has water in it. So it's kind of stuck down there. Just like, that's why your house doesn't smell like crap, you know what I mean? Because you have water in your YouTube, and that stops and contains those fumes. Anyways, you all have a great day, and always remember, science is great.